How is a young artist who went from platinum records, hot band, to getting dropped? How did you not let your ego get in the way and say, you know what? I know better than these guys. I'm going to keep doing what I do. And hey, believe them, I'm going to be successful without your help. How hard, long story, long question short, how hard was it to put your ego aside and hey, look for help from other people?
Gosh, that's a great question because a lot of my life, but a lot of the book, there's a constant refrain. Even in the speaking I do, there's a refrain that in order to be good and in order to be successful and get better and more creative, you've got to check your ego at the door, and the ego is the root of all the bad shit that holds us back. There's a line in the book that I was told years ago, and it's great, that says, "My ego is not my amigo." And the ego is the thing that says, I'm good enough, I'm better than them, whatever they're doing sucks. But when you check your ego, that's when you say, wait a second, actually, that's an awesome song. That's an awesome idea. How can I learn from that? How can I get better? Or also say, I need help. I need help to continue in my career. I need help to be healthier physically and mentally. The challenge is, though, is that ego and self-will gets us to a certain point in our lives, right? And for very few, that's all they ever do. It's always them. But for most people who want to be happy, at some point you say, I've gotten to this point, I got to let go of my ego because I'm just another person on the planet, and I want to get better. I want to evolve. I need to collaborate. I need to work with other people. I need to listen. I need to be teachable. To specifically answer your question, I think that happened for me. Going back to the early 2000s again. I'd gotten to a certain point where it was just me. And I realized if I wanted to go any further, I had to check my ego at the door, and get some humility. And and as they say, humility is not thinking less of yourself; it's thinking of yourself less. So chew on that one a little bit. But my ego is not my amigo. Letting go of taking the blinders off is the key to evolving and getting better in business and life and love, for sure.
Now, was that an overnight process, or that you just said, "Hey,
Oh God, no,
dropped"?
God,
Like,
no.
how long did it take? And what was like the initial reaction?
It was not an overnight process. It was. I fought it. Business wise, I think I fought it. Collaborating with other people. The first person I ever collaborated with was Meat Loaf, the artist Meat Loaf. Was the first person, and in LA at a studio. He heard a song, and one of my songs as he walked past, and had his manager ask me if I wanted to write a song. So I definitely not a person who said I need to do this and switch. No, I fought letting go of my ego in business and life and all that. And that's kind of maybe why I wrote the book, is I was like, hey, here's this book on these different tools you can use to stay successful in business, in life. And I think everything's connected, business, life, love, health. It's all wrapped up in this one big thing. They're not mutually exclusive. And I'm at a point in my life, at 54 years of age, where I mentor younger artists. I like sharing my life story about things that work for me and what doesn't work, what hasn't worked for me. And then when I in the process of doing it, I realized that, wow, I'm not inventing the wheel. The things I'm talking about are truths that, whether you study other business people or other successful songwriters or philosophy or whatever, there's these mantras you hear over and over again. The aha moment for me though was that, oh, I'm a musician. I can tell a story about a musician, and I can talk about Music City, USA. I can talk about Nashville and the glamour and the coolness of the music industry to convey these principles and these ideas to help people. But music is so interesting to people, because it is interesting, that, oh, this is a really nice, tasty pill that I can wrap it in to give you this knowledge, this story, and that hopefully will help you. But yeah, it all started with checking the ego.
As an artist, how many ruts have you been in? How do you break out of a rut? Every writer goes through it, and it's emotionally draining. It's especially when you're looking at something, you get up at 5 a.m, you say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna have the greatest thing written by the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then you look at that screen and it's still blank. Like, how does that draining on you? How do you get out of it? How do you snap out of it? And how do you eventually turn it into something that's really artistic and very...
Well, one of the things is, and I talk about, and I talk about it in the book. One is, some of the biggest things is collaborating. You know, work with other people, because they're going to bring ideas and fresh energy into that session. You know, work with somebody you dig. You know, that'll help you get out of it. Being inspired by other music. Sometimes when I'm trying to write a song and it isn't happening, and I can't write a melody to save my life, I'm just like having the presence of mind to say, take a break, you know, go listen to some music remember what you love about music. I'll go listen to some great music, but I'm always listening to new music. Another thing is like, if I've hit my head against the wall, I approach the song a different way, changing my attitude, which is something in the book I talk about, is an attitude as it pertains to aviation, which is your orientation to the earth as opposed to your altitude. And specifically, when a plane is landing, you got to know what your orientation is. Is your nose up? Is your nose down? And stuff like that. And so how do you approach a problem differently when you're in a creative deadlock? So normally, like, I'll write a song on guitar, but sometimes it's just not happening. So I'll start with the lyric. That's not working, I'll do a beat. Or if that's not working, I'll listen to a song I love, and I'm like, well, what are the chords to that song? And I'll reverse engineer a great idea. So I have this like arsenal of things that help me finish the song, you know, and I've been doing it long enough to where I know that I'm going to hit those roadblocks. I'm going to hit those walls. And I've learned these kind of tools that I haven't come up with, that I've learned from other people, you know, and then made them my own. I talk about it in the book, but so I just have a lot of tools, you know, to shake loose. You know, this is what I really believe, is that song, that idea, it's always in the room. What are the ways you can give yourself a better average at being able to capture it? It's like running around a room with a butterfly net. You know, that song, that idea, that life-changing thing is in there. You know, I got to get it. Sometimes you get lucky and you have a hit song or a hit idea. Other times it's got to be overt and have intent. And so that's what I wanted to share in the book, was like, okay, I'm going to give you this, that the writers for this publishing house use to stay at the top of their game. And within those 5 practices, there's all different ways to approach it. But it's something I've learned. And that's really kind of how I keep staying successful, you know, but it's something I've learned over the years. And like, great question, you know, did it come overnight? No. You know, so I like sharing ideas with people, and because, you know, I like sharing it with the community. There's that saying, a rising tide lifts all ships. So I'm all about, you know, having, you know, purpose in what I do and helping others.
Now, is there a song that comes to mind that butterfly net kept missing and missing and missing, and finally?
Oh yeah, well,
like, wow.
Yeah, well, there's a great idea, and I talk about it all the time. I was in this songwriting session in 2012, and I started playing guitar. I was with this guy named Shy Carter. He had written a lot of the Nelly songs, and I was like, well, let's do something like, at the time, Hey Soul Sister was really big, by Train, and Jason Mraz, I'm Yours was really big. And I was like, well, let's do something like that. And I started playing a guitar part kind of that had that kind of feel, that breezy summer feel. 3 hours later, we had nothing, and we took a break. We went and got coffee. I came back, and Shy, my songwriter, he said, hey man, put some Autotune on my vocal. So we used but Autotune was the thing that changed our attitude and approached the song from a different way. We were trying lyrics. We did a cool beat. We tried a different guitar part. And then it was like, oh, well, let's see if we can find a melody using Autotune, using this technology. And that's what did it. And suddenly in 30 minutes, I hit record, and I was like, this is a fucking hit song. I sent it over to Jennifer Nettles from Sugarland, and 3 days later or 5 days later, they cut it. It's their biggest song, a song called Stuck Like Glue. And that was a song that I was ready to quit that day. I was ready to call it a day. I didn't feel it at all, but we just kept at it, and we kept trying at different approaches to finishing the song. And because of that, I'm not a person who believes in those, in platitudes and sayings, like "keep your chin up, kid," or "you can't steal second with your foot on first," all those kind of things. But I typed out this little phrase that says, the song is always there. And it's the idea that in that room, the song is always there. You just have to persevere at it and use different tools to get that inspiration.
How do you feel different now at 54 than you did in your 20s and 30s on tour? What's the difference now?
Well, I don't drink anymore. I never was a heavy drinker, but I don't drink at all. And for me, like, man, I did it. I drank, so one is just treating my body better, always hydrating. I wake up, I make this amazing smoothie. I will give you the recipe to it. It's awesome. And I work and I exercise. I've always stayed in shape. But now I'm an everyday guy, and it keeps my mind, before sessions, I'm always going to go do a Peloton or a run. It just keeps my stress at a minimum, and it also just keeps me clear-headed. But I think I think because I've stayed in shape, I've always exercised my whole life, that I haven't, look at 54, I am not having the ailments a lot of my peers are having. So I've always been, I think kind of my mantra is consistency, not duration. I exercise every day. I mean, if it's warm here in Middle Tennessee, when it's about to be like it is in Phoenix, I go out for a 2-mile jog. I do a 2-mile jog. Prior to the pandemic, I was a guy that went to the YMCA. I've always been a member of a club. But in the pandemic, look, I was like everybody else. I got a Peloton. I get my Peloton on. Look, I fought it when those ads came out. I was like, I'm not going to fall prey to your savvy marketing blitz, and then I fell prey to it. So, I love doing my the Pelotons for cardio and my legs. I do the arms and intervals with Tunde. She's a beast. Then I go into my garage, and I have a routine I do. I've always, my whole life, I got really tall in 8th grade. I'm 6'4". I've always, my metabolism, if I don't work out, like when I would drink, in my life and I wasn't working out, I lose weight. Most people I know gain weight. I lose weight and get skinnier. So, I have to, I have to eat a lot. I have to work out, and otherwise I kind of waste away. I think it was the alcohol was certainly, but I was young, so I was resilient. When it quit working, I was like, it was in my early 40s. I was like, man, I'm hungover. I got to sing a show tonight. This isn't sexy or cool or rock and roll. This is just lame. And so I stopped it. And so what I love about it is that every day I'm 100%. I never have a day where I'm hungover. I never have a day where I'm there physically, but I'm not there mentally or spiritually. So, and then I think about, man, think of all the days I get back, So that's why I kind of like, decided like, hey man, I checked that box, on the drinking and the partying and stuff like that. And I like feeling good. And then, I've got a healthy, well, I guess I do have a healthy ego. I like looking good. I like feeling good. I like looking good. And or as best I can, what is looking good? It's what we think. But, but I also realized there's too many cautionary tales in music. And I realized, man, nobody is immune. If you live a certain way, if you don't take care of yourself and you party, age can be a cruel mistress. And, and I was like, so knowing that I'm no exception, get your shit together. You don't want to drink anymore. I quit drinking, and then just turn up the, exercise, staying hydrated, getting plenty of rest. And, and then I just do real simple. I do a real simple exercise routine that just keeps me lean and strong. And, I like feelings. I like being strong. I like feeling fit.
Now, if your next book were to be The Ultimate Musician's Workout Manual,
yeah,
what would be the key elements that every musician must do? Stay stage ready, to stay performance ready?
Well, I think consistency. The reason I work out all the time is that, and this may be right or wrong, but this is what works for me, is like, my workouts aren't that long. Like my routine is I'll run 2 miles, or I'll do 30 minutes on the Peloton. Then I go in to the gym. This is the round I do incline bench, or I'll rotate incline bench, regular bench press, free weights. I do dumbbell presses, the Schwarzenegger ones, the Schwarzenegger dumbbell presses. I do pull-ups. Pull-ups for me has been the key because most tall guys, most people in general, have really weak backs. They can't do pull-ups. Most adults can't do pull-ups. I've always done pull-ups, and I work on them. And then I do ropes. And then the ropes, I'll do a minute of ropes. I'll do that a circuit of 3, sometimes I'll do 4 sets of that little circuit, and that's it. And I just hydrate. I have a really great smoothie I make every day, and that consistency just does it for me. And then I'll go to a club, up in Nashville. If I have a songwriting session in Nashville, I'll go to a health club that I go to up in Nashville. But my thing has been, what I found is that when I wasn't consistent with exercise, it was because I dreaded it. I was like, oh, like when I was doing Iron Tribe, or CrossFit, I was like, oh fuck, it's gonna kick my ass. and then I wouldn't do it. But if I know it's not that much, you know, but because I'm doing it every day, it all just adds up. So I would just, the ultimate stay in shape for musicians is rest, hydrate, consistency. Do something every day. And I learned with writing this book, every day, man, if you do a little bit every day, a week later, a month later, 6 months later, suddenly you've done a shit ton of work, and you're, whether it's your body or a book you're writing, I'm all about just a little every day.
You said before you like to mentor younger artists now. So if you're mentoring someone, what are the do's and don'ts? If you were to say, here are the 3 do's, the 3 don'ts of becoming a young, successful musician.
Do educate yourself about the business. There's so many books. Donald Passman's The Business of Music. Listen to podcasts. Know the business of your business. So many musicians go into the business. They don't, and they wonder why they're not having success. They don't know what's happening in their business. They don't know who to get the song to. Do write all the time. Do record yourself. These days, your laptop computer is $1 million recording studio with Pro Tools or Logic or Ableton. You can have a song that sounds every bit as good as Billie Eilish and Phineas. Don't wait for someone to do it for you. Don't sit around. Do go out and just don't quit. I mean, the end of the day, the people who have success in the music industry are the people that didn't quit. They're not the most talented. They're not the smartest. They're the ones that had a little bit of both, but they didn't quit. And they learned about the business. They hustled every day. They stayed savvy, and they were able to know music, but also business, and realize that those are not mutually exclusive. If you want one, the other one comes with it. It's the music business.